Captain Kim Hannah stood on the bridge of the small human ship called Unity. Her hands were steady as she watched the stars outside the windows. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of the engines. They were far from home, carrying messages between human colonies and other alien worlds. Lieutenant Park Jun sat at his station, monitoring the communication systems. He was young but skilled, always alert for incoming signals. Today felt different, though. The space around them seemed too quiet, like the calm before a storm. "Captain," Park Jun called out suddenly. "We're getting a transmission. It's huge. The signal is stronger than anything I've ever seen." Kim Hannah walked over to the station, put on the main screen. The front wall of the bridge lit up with a massive holographic display. Strange symbols appeared first. Then the image cleared to show it being made of living crystal. Its body was tall and sharp, like a walking diamond that caught light from unknown sources. When it spoke, its voice sounded like glass bells ringing in a deep cave. "I am Zeph Prime of the Vorthak delegation. You'll identify yourselves immediately." Kim Hannah stepped forward. "This is Captain Kim Hannah of the human diplomatic vessel Unity. We are on a peaceful mission between our colonies." The crystal being's body flashed with brighter light. "Human? Yes. Your species has been located and cataloged. You will listen carefully to what I say next." Around the Unity, space began to change. Massive ships appeared out of nowhere, materializing like ghosts becoming solid. Each vessel was larger than any human city. Some ships looked like floating mountains made of metal and crystal. Others were pure energy, looking like captured lightning shaped into the form of ships. Park Jun's hands trembled as he read his instruments. "Captain, there are dozens of them. Each ship is reading energy signatures off our scale. One of those vessels could destroy our entire colony." The crystal being continued speaking. "I represent the Galactic Hegemony Council. We are the rightful rulers of this region of space. 12 ancient civilizations serve the Council. We have maintained order for thousands of your years." As Zeph Prime spoke, other alien forms appeared on the screen. Flowing creatures that looked like colored smoke drifted in the background. Insect-like beings with multiple arms clicked their claws together. Mechanical entities with glowing red eyes stood perfectly still. Each species looked more advanced and dangerous than anything humans had ever encountered. "Your species will now acknowledge our authority," Zeph Prime announced. "This is not a request. This is the natural order of the universe. The strong rule the weak. The advanced guide the primitive." Kim Hannah felt her heart racing, but kept her voice calm. "What exactly are you demanding from humanity?" The crystal being's light pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Tribute. Proof of your submission to our rule. You will provide half of all rare minerals your colonies have collected. You will give us genetic samples from 1,000 humans, so we may study your biology. You will surrender your 3 fastest ships to join our fleet." One of the energy beings drifted forward. Its voice sounded like wind through caves. "These demands are generous. Other species have been required to give much more for the privilege of serving the Council." An insect creature clicked its mandibles. "Your technology is primitive. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are simple toys. You should be grateful we allow you to exist at all." Kim Hannah looked at the display showing the alien fleet surrounding them. Each ship bristled with weapons that could turn planets to dust. She could see energy discharges between the vessels as they demonstrated their power. One ship fired a beam that cut through a nearby asteroid, turning solid rock to vapor in seconds. "You have 7 rotations of your planet to comply," Zeph Prime continued. "Send your tribute to the coordinates we will provide. If you refuse, your species will be eliminated. This has been the fate of all who reject the Council's authority." Park Jun whispered urgently to his captain. "The long-range sensors are detecting more ships jumping in. There must be hundreds of them now. This is their entire battle fleet." The mechanical beings on the screen began displaying holographic images of destroyed worlds. Planets cracked in half. Cities burning from orbit. Entire star systems gone dark. The message was clear without words. "Do you understand?" asked Zeph Prime. "Your choice is simple. Submit and live as servants of the Council, or resist and face complete annihilation. Every species before you has made the wise choice. You will do the same. Kim Hannah straightened her shoulders. Despite the overwhelming display of force surrounding her tiny ship, she managed to keep her voice steady. I understand your message. We will relay your demands to our leadership. Excellent. You show wisdom for a primitive species. The Council will be pleased with your cooperation. The transmission ended abruptly. The alien fleet remained visible outside their windows, a constant reminder of the impossible choice facing humanity. Kim Hannah turned to her communications officer. Send an emergency message to Admiral Lee on New Terra. Tell him we need the Xenolinguist team immediately. And Park June. Yes, Captain? Tell them this is bigger than just tribute. This is about what it means to be human. Admiral Lee Tay sat in the emergency meeting room on New Terra Colony. The walls were covered with screens showing ship positions and defense systems. Every screen told the same story. Humanity was completely outmatched. The room was filled with military officers and scientists, all looking worried and tired. Colonel Han Su pointed to the holographic display floating above the table. Their smallest scout ship has more firepower than our entire defense fleet. Look at these energy readings. One alien vessel could destroy our capital city in minutes. Dr. Choi Min, the colony's best expert on alien languages and cultures, studied the data from Captain Kim's encounter. She had spent 3 days without sleep, analyzing every word and gesture from the Council's message. Her eyes were red from staring at computer screens, but she had found something important. This isn't just about conquest, Dr. Choi said quietly. I've been studying their communication patterns and the way they structure their demands. The Council doesn't just want to rule us. They want us to accept that they have the right to rule us. Major Park Dong looked confused. What's the difference? If they can destroy us, don't they already have that right? Dr. Choi shook her head. No, you don't understand. Every alien species they've encountered has eventually agreed to serve them, not because they were forced to, but because they believed it was natural. The strong should rule the weak. The advanced should guide the primitive. It's how their entire civilization works. She pulled up recordings of the Council's message on the main screen. Listen carefully to how they speak. They don't say, we will force you to obey. They say, you will acknowledge our authority. They expect us to agree that this is right and proper. Admiral Lee studied the alien fleet positions. Hundreds of massive ships surrounded their small colony world. Each one could end human civilization with a single attack. Dr. Choi, I appreciate your analysis, but we have to be realistic. We have maybe 50 ships total. They have 1,000. We have basic plasma weapons. They have planet-destroying technology. That's exactly my point, Dr. Choi said, becoming more excited. They've never had to actually fight a real war. Every species they've met has looked at their superior technology and said, yes, you deserve to rule us. The Council has been in power for thousands of years without facing true resistance. Colonel Han Su frowned. Are you suggesting we fight them? That's suicide. No, Dr. Choi replied. I'm suggesting something they've never encountered before. Something that doesn't exist anywhere in their cultural understanding. She walked over to the window overlooking the colony city. Thousands of humans were going about their daily lives, not knowing that their entire species faced extinction. Children played in parks. Families ate dinner together. People worked and laughed and loved, completely unaware of the massive alien fleet hanging in space above them. In all their records, in all their languages, there's no word for what I'm thinking, Dr. Choi continued. When faced with superior force, species either submit willingly or they try to negotiate for better terms. Some attempt to flee to distant worlds. Others offer alternative services or compromises. Admiral Lee was getting impatient. Dr. Choi, please get the point. We need solutions, not philosophy lessons. Dr. Choi turned back to face the group. No species in Council history has ever simply said no and meant it. The room fell completely silent. Everyone stared at her, like she had suggested jumping off a cliff. Explain, Admiral Lee said carefully. Not no, but maybe we can discuss terms. Not no, because we're too weak to comply. Not no, because we need more time. Just no. Absolute refusal without justification or apology or fear. Major Park Dong laughed nervously. Dr. Choi, with respect, that's not a strategy. That's just asking them to kill us faster. Maybe, Dr. Choi admitted, but consider this. Their entire power structure is based on the assumption that all intelligent species will eventually recognize their superiority. What happens if they meet someone who simply doesn't? She pulled up more data on her computer. Look at their historical records. The Vordak crystal beings became the council leaders because other species saw their technology and agreed they deserved to rule. The energy ethereals joined because they believed advanced civilizations should guide primitive ones. Every member species accepted the hierarchy as natural law. Colonel Han Su studied the information. You're saying their empire is held together by agreement, not force? Exactly. They use force to demonstrate their power, but the actual control comes from everyone believing they have the right to use that force. It's like, Dr. Choi paused, thinking of a simple way to explain. It's like a king who rules because everyone agrees he should be king. If people stop agreeing, he's just a man with a fancy chair. Admiral Lee was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. Dr. Choi, what you're suggesting could get every human killed. What they're demanding will destroy us anyway, she replied. If we give them tribute, we become their servants forever. If we try to negotiate, we're accepting their right to make demands. If we run, they'll hunt us down eventually. The admiral looked around the room at his officers. These were good people who had signed up to protect human colonies. Now he was asking them to consider the most dangerous gamble in human history. There's one more thing, Dr. Choi added quietly. We can only do this once. If it fails, there won't be a second chance. The small human shuttle Hope moved slowly through space toward the massive council station. Ambassador O'Dowd sat quietly in the passenger section, reviewing his notes one final time. Dr. Choi Min sat beside him, her hand shaking slightly as she watched the alien structure grow larger through the window. The council station was enormous. It looked like a crystal mountain floating in space, with sections that glowed different colors. Energy flowed between tall towers like captured lightning. The station was easily large enough to hold an entire human city inside its walls. Ambassador, said the shuttle pilot, we're getting docking instructions from the station. They're directing us to a small bay near the bottom section. O'Dowd nodded calmly. Follow their instructions exactly. Dr. Choi looked at the readings on her tablet. The energy signatures from that station are incredible. The power systems alone could supply electricity to our entire colony for 100 years. As their shuttle entered the docking bay, they could see it was designed for much larger ships. Their tiny vessel looked like a toy boat in an ocean harbor. Mechanical arms grabbed their shuttle and pulled it into position. The bay doors closed behind them with a sound like thunder. This is it, O'Dowd said to the small team. Remember, stay calm no matter what you see. Don't show fear, but don't show arrogance either. Just remain human. The airlock opened, and they stepped into the alien station. The corridor was huge, with walls that seemed to be made of living crystal. Strange lights moved through the crystal like fish swimming in frozen water. The air smelled like metal and electricity. Two beings approached them. One was a Vordak crystal entity, its body tall and sharp like a walking diamond. The other was harder to see clearly. It looked like colored smoke that had learned to hold a shape. These were their escorts to the council chamber. Follow, said the crystal being. Its voice sounded like breaking glass. Do not touch anything. Do not speak unless given permission. They walked through corridors that seemed to stretch forever. The walls showed holographic displays of star maps and alien cities. O'Dowd realized they were seeing the entire council empire, thousands of worlds, billions of beings, all serving the 12 ancient species that ruled this part of the galaxy. Finally, they reached the council chamber. The doors opened with a sound like a mountain splitting in half. The chamber was vast beyond imagination. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness above. The walls curved away on both sides until they could barely be seen. In the center of the floor was a small platform surrounded by 12 massive sections, each designed for a different alien species. O'Dowd and his team walked to the center platform. Their footsteps echoed strangely in the enormous space. As they reached their position, lights began to illuminate the 12 sections around them. The Vorthack appeared first, their crystal bodies blazing with internal light. Then came the ethereals, flowing beings of pure energy that shifted between colors like living rainbows. Insect-like creatures with multiple arms and eyes clicked into view. Ancient machines with glowing sensors focused on the humans. Each section held beings that looked more advanced and dangerous than anything humans had ever imagined. Some were so alien that O'Dowd couldn't even understand what he was looking at. Others seemed to be made of pure thought-given form. Humans, boomed a voice from everywhere at once. It was Zeph Prime, the Vorthack leader they had spoken before. You appear before the council. Where is your tribute? The question echoed through the vast chamber. O'Dowd could feel the attention of 12 ancient civilizations focused on him like the heat from a dozen suns. Each species represented thousands of years of technological advancement. Each one had conquered star systems and enslaved entire worlds. An ethereal drifted closer, its energy form pulsing with what might have been anger. 7 rotations have passed. Your deadline has expired. Yet you come before us empty-handed. One of the machine entities spoke with a voice like grinding metal. This shows either incredible stupidity or unprecedented arrogance. Which is it, primitive? O'Dowd looked up at the towering alien forms surrounding him. Dr. Choi stood beside him, her scientific instruments quietly recording everything they experienced. The 2 diplomatic aides remained perfectly still as they had been trained. Honor Council, O'Dowd said, his voice carrying clearly through the vast space. We have received your demands. We have considered them carefully. And Zeph Prime's crystal body flashed brighter. We have come to give you our response. An insect creature clicked its mandibles impatiently. Then speak quickly. Our patience with your species grows thin. O'Dowd took a deep breath. Around him, the 12 most powerful civilizations in the galaxy waited for humanity's surrender. They expected the same response they had received from hundreds of other species. Fear, submission, and acceptance of their authority. Before I give our answer, O'Dowd said, I request permission to speak freely. The council members made various sounds of amusement or irritation. Energy beings flickered. Crystal entities pulsed. Ancient machines calculated. Permission granted. Zeph Prime said with what sounded like condescending patience. Speak your submission properly so it may be recorded for all future generations to understand. O'Dowd nodded respectfully. Thank you. Our response requires only one word. The massive chamber fell completely silent. 12 ancient civilizations waited to hear humanity surrender. Ambassador, O'Dowd stood in the center of the vast council chamber. The silence was so complete he could hear his own heartbeat. 12 ancient civilizations waited above him, their various forms of life representing thousands of years of conquest and domination. Energy beings flickered with anticipation. Crystal entities pulsed with confident light. Ancient machines hummed quietly, already preparing to record humanity's surrender. Dr. Choi Min stood slightly behind the ambassador, her hands steady now. She had spent weeks studying these aliens, learning their languages and their ways of thinking. She knew this moment would change everything, one way or another. O'Dowd looked up at Zeph Prime, the towering crystal being who led the council. The Vorthack's body blazed with internal light, casting rainbow patterns across the chamber walls. Around the massive room, representatives from 11 other species waited with the patience of beings who had never been refused. Speak your word, human, Zeph Prime commanded. His voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. Let the galaxy hear your species accept its proper place in the natural order. O'Dowd took one final breath. In that moment, he thought about every human who had ever lived, every person who had looked at impossible odds and chosen to stand anyway, every individual who had faced overwhelming power and refused to kneel. No, the word left his lips quietly, but in the vast silence of the chamber, it sounded like thunder. For several seconds, nothing happened. The alien beings simply stared down at the small human figure. Their translator systems worked frantically, processing the simple sound through thousands of languages and cultural databases. Then chaos erupted. The ethereal energy beings began pulsing rapidly, their colors shifting through patterns never seen before. Their translators made harsh static sounds as they failed to find equivalent concepts in their ancient language. The insect creatures clicked their mandibles together, so fast it sounded like breaking metal. Clarification required. Buzz, one of the hive mind speakers. Your response has no contextual meaning in any known framework. The crystal vortex flickered wildly, their internal lights flashing in patterns that hurt to look at. Impossible. All intelligent species accept the hierarchy when presented with superior force. This is universal law. Dao remained perfectly still in the center of the chaos. The word was clear. No. An ancient machine entity rolled forward, its sensors glowing bright red. Define parameters. Are you requesting modified terms? Do you seek to negotiate alternative tribute? Are you indicating temporary inability to comply? Dr. Choi stepped forward. None of those things. We simply refuse. Refuse? An ethereal drifted closer, its energy form crackling with confusion. Refuse what aspect? Which specific demands require adjustment? All of them, O'Dowd said calmly. We refuse your authority. We refuse your demands. We refuse to acknowledge your right to rule us. The chamber fell silent again, but this silence was different. It was the silence of minds that could not process what they were hearing. Beings who had lived for thousands of years, who had seen the rise and fall of entire civilizations, struggled to understand a concept that had never existed in their experience. Zeth Prime's crystal body began to crack slightly, thin lines of darkness appearing in his blazing form. You speak impossibilities. When presented with overwhelming force, species submit. This is natural law. The strong rule the weak. The advanced guide the primitive. Maybe for you, O'Dowd replied. Not for humans. One of the younger ethereals began spinning rapidly, its energy form becoming unstable. But you cannot resist our power. Your technology is primitive. Your ships are few. We could destroy your entire species with a single command. Yes, you could, Dr. Choi agreed, but that doesn't give you the right to rule us. The concept hit the assembled aliens like a physical blow. Their translators completely failed, producing only nonsense sounds as they tried to process the idea that might did not automatically create right. An insect creature's translator managed to produce broken words. Right, not from strength. Authority, not from power. Impossible logic error does not compute. The ancient machines began making sounds like grinding gears. Their logical systems crashed repeatedly as they tried to understand how intelligent beings could reject obvious superiority. Error messages flashed across their optical displays. Zeth Prime's voice cracked like breaking crystal. You doom your species with this madness. Every civilization learns to accept the natural order. The strong rule because they are strong. The advanced rule because they are advanced. This is how the universe works. According to you, O'Dowd said, but we didn't agree to your rules. Agreement is not required. Zeth Prime's light blazed, so bright it was painful to look at. Power creates authority. Strength creates right. This is universal law. For you, perhaps, not for us. Dr. Choi watched as the alien representatives began arguing among themselves. Some of the energy being split into smaller forms, debating frantically in languages that sounded like singing electricity. The crystal entities pulsed in rapid patterns, their internal lights flashing error codes. The machines calculated endlessly, trying to find logical frameworks that could contain the human position. We have introduced a virus into their thinking, Dr. Choi whispered to O'Dowd. The idea that authority must be earned rather than taken. That power alone doesn't create the right to rule. Their entire civilization is based on assumptions we just proved aren't universal. Above them, the Council descended into unprecedented chaos as beings who had ruled the galaxy for millennia discovered that one simple word could shatter everything they believed about the natural order of the universe. The Council chamber erupted into chaos unlike anything seen in thousands of years. Zeth Prime's crystal body blazed with unstable light as he struggled to comprehend what had just happened. Around the massive chamber, Representatives from 12 ancient civilizations argued with each other in languages that had never needed words for absolute refusal. This is impossible. Zeth Prime's voice cracked like breaking mountain stone. No species has ever simply refused without reason. There must be negotiation. There must be compromise. There must be submission. But the damage was already spreading beyond the chamber. Throughout the council station, younger alien beings who served the 12 ruling species began talking quietly among themselves. The ethereal servants who maintained the energy system started asking questions they had never thought to ask before. Why did they serve? When had they agreed to serve? Had they ever actually agreed at all? Ambassador O'Dowd and Dr. Choi Min stood calmly in the center of the storm. Around them, the most powerful alliance in the galaxy tore itself apart, trying to understand one simple concept: the right to say no. A younger ethereal entity broke away from the main group and approached the human platform. Its energy form was dim and uncertain. Human Dao, I must understand. My species submitted to the Vorthack 3,000 years ago. We saw their crystal technology and agreed they were superior. But do we have to agree? Oh, Dao looked up at the floating energy being. That's a question only your people can answer. The younger ethereal pulsed with confusion. But if we didn't have to submit, then why do we still serve? If we chose to serve once, can we choose to stop serving? Zeth Prime whirled around, his crystal form blazing dangerously. Silence. You forget your place in the natural order. Do I? The younger ethereal asked. Or did I never really have a place? Did I just accept one because I was told it was natural? Similar conversations were erupting throughout the chamber. Insect servants began questioning why they obeyed hive queens who had submitted to the council centuries ago. Machine entities started calculating whether their original programming to serve had any logical foundation beyond fear. Dr. Choi watched the spreading chaos with scientific fascination. It's exactly what I predicted. Their entire power structure was based on assumption, not actual authority. Once you question the assumption, everything else falls apart. 3 of the Council's member species suddenly announced they were withdrawing from the Alliance. The machine constructors declared that their servitude had been based on faulty logic. 2 insect hive minds decided their original submission had been an error in judgment. The energy being split into multiple factions, some supporting continued hierarchy, while others demanded complete independence. Zeth Prime's crystal body began developing serious cracks. You have destroyed everything. Thousands of years of order and stability, shattered by your primitive stubbornness. We didn't destroy anything, O'Dowd replied calmly. We just said no. If that was enough to destroy your empire, maybe it wasn't as strong as you thought. Ancient alarm systems throughout the station began wailing. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. On dozens of worlds, subject species were rising up, not with weapons or violence, but with the same simple word the humans had introduced. No, we will not serve. We do not accept your authority. We refuse. The great council fleet that had surrounded New Terra began breaking apart as individual ships received conflicting orders. Some commanders demanded immediate attack on the human colony. Others questioned why they were taking orders at all. Several species recalled their vessels entirely to deal with rebellions on their homeworlds. Commander Park Jun, monitoring communications from the human shuttle, watched in amazement as the most powerful military force in the galaxy dissolve into confusion and civil war. Dr. Choi, are you seeing this? Half their fleet is jumping away. The other half is arguing with each other. Some ships are actually firing on their own allies. Within hours, the Council's authority structure completely collapsed. Species that had served for millennia suddenly remembered they were independent civilizations with their own rights and desires. The rigid hierarchy that had maintained galactic order began crumbling as subject worlds declared their freedom. Zeth Prime made one final desperate attempt to restore control. Human Dao, your species will pay for this chaos. We will hunt you across the stars. We will make an example of you that will restore order to the galaxy. But even as he spoke, his own crystal warriors were questioning their orders. Why should they attack humans who had committed no crime except refusing to submit? What gave anyone a right to rule through fear alone? O'Dowd and his team walked calmly toward the exit, as the council chamber descended into complete pandemonium. Behind them, the representatives of 12 ancient civilizations struggled with concepts they had never needed to understand: consent, choice, and the right to refuse. Dr. Choi smiled as they reached their shuttle. You know what the most interesting part is? We didn't defeat them with superior weapons or advanced technology. We defeated them with an idea they couldn't understand, that authority has to be earned, not taken. As the shuttle Unity departed the council station, reports continued flooding in from across the galaxy. Independent worlds were forming new alliances based on mutual respect rather than imposed hierarchy. Former subject species were discovering they had choices they never knew existed. The tribute demand was forgotten, lost in the wreckage of an empire that had ruled through assumption rather than genuine authority. Humanity had faced extinction and survived, not through strength or cunning, but through the simple courage to refuse what was wrong.